Hi ladies, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to share with you a swap that I hosted over at myscraproom.ning.com. My swap was an altered apron swap, and it was very simple, open to a lot of things. So general rules were you had to you could purchase a plain apron at Michael's or Joann's, and you had to alter it for your partner, get information, see what she liked, and go from there. Use your imagination. You didn't have to be a sewer. You just you needed to use your creativity. So I want to show you what I came up with for my partner, Loretta. So I started off with this white apron that I got at Joann's. Let me show you what I did. This is the apron that I created. I did a lot of things that I don't normally do. I used fabric markers, which I've never used before. I did use some StazOn ink on fabric. That was my first time, and I had fun with it. So let me get started. So basically, my main I did ask my partner what kind of colors she liked. She said her favorite colors were pink and green, so that's what I tried to go with. My main picture, let's see if I can zoom in here and show you what she looks like. So the main picture on my apron is this girl here, and I'm sure a lot of you know who she is. I used let's see, the stamp by Greeting Farm called Flutter Anya, and it's this stamp here. And let me show you what I did. So I took a plain sheet of paper and I just stamped her in a piece of white paper. And then what I did is I took this picture and went over to my copy machine and enlarged her to this. On my copy machine setting, I believe it said 186%, and that gave me a picture about, let's see, just excuse my arms here. It made her about 5 by 6 inches big. And so what I did was I have a light box, and I did that because I figured that would be the easiest thing, and actually I'm glad I used it. I taped this piece here to my light box. I didn't bring it with me to show you. I hope pretty much, if you don't, you can Google what a light box is. I taped this on there, and then I placed my apron on top. And then I took this marker here. It's called Deco Fabric in black. This is a fabric marker, and unfortunately it only comes in one. This comes in one size. This is 3 millimeters. Oh, sorry. I took that and I traced pretty much the whole picture in black and did it as carefully as I can. Now this is my first time doing this on fabric, so it was a little tedious. You have to go in small strokes and to get it really into the fabric, so that it did take a while, so you have to be patient. And you do have to let this dry, and it does recommend that either you heat set it, but the good thing about using it on the light box is that the heat from the light bulb as you're drawing it does help to set the ink, which is good. And then once I was done tracing it on the black excuse me, I took my heat gun and then just went over it very carefully, really quickly. So that's her. And then to color her, I used these fabric markers, which are also first time using these. This is the pastel colors, and I used my coupon on this. These run about $8.99, so I used my Joann's had a 50% off coupon, and so I used that. And this just has pastel colors. They do come in primary colors and I believe some bright colors, so I think I might go back and get the other ones. So I used these markers to go ahead and color her in. I also used my Copic markers, and I will write down what colors I used on the bottom of the screen. I used my Copic markers to color in her hair and her skin because Obviously those colors are not in here. This only has orange, pink, green, purple, light blue, and yellow. And then I use this pen, which is also a Deco Fabric pen. It's called Glitter Deco Fabric, and this is kind of like an opaque white. And what that kind of give, I don't know if I could zoom in enough for you guys to see it, but so if you see right there in her hair, it highlights it, and at the same time it gives like a nice shiny finish. Not really bright, but enough to be noticeable. Okay, so let's see, that's that. The next part, these here, this is a stamp that I used. This is Heidi Grace clear stamps. I got these in clearance at Joann's a while back, and this is called Wild Daisy Road. Sorry, I'm not sure if that's gonna focus, but so that's this here. And so what I did was I stamped it here and then flipped it around and stamped it here. And that I did stamp using StazOn ink. And then what I did was I took my my black Deco Fabric marker and I traced over it. Again, this is a 3mm width, so it's kind of hard when you're doing like more intricate lines. I'm gonna go back and see if I could find a thinner fabric pen. So the lines do come out a lot thicker, but I'm really happy with the way that it came out. So that's that. And then let's see. Let me show you the rest of the apron here. Let me zoom back out. Then let's see, on the rest of the apron here, this flower here and this flower here were done using these stamps by Heartfelt Creations. I got this last year at the Scrapbook Expo, and they're really fun stamps. So I used that for this. Let me zoom in on that. Oh, sorry, I'm going the wrong way. So if you could see that there. So I stamped those also with StazOn ink, and then what I did is I took the fabric marker again and just kind of went over the lines again. This was kind of hard to do because it was very detailed, but the thick marker kind of takes over a little bit, but oh well. So that's that one, and that's the other one there. And then I took the fabric markers and I colored them in there. And then the butterflies are this stamp here. This is Martha Stewart, which I got at clearance at Joann's the other day. And this is Martha Stewart doily lace butterflies. So I'm sure you could see that there. Now these are acrylic stamps, and again I stamped them with, let me see if I could zoom in here. I stamped them with StazOn ink. Okay, that's this big butterfly here. I stamped it with StazOn ink. And these butterflies I did not go over with the fabric marker because they are very detailed and the fabric marker is too thick for all these thin lines. So what I did was, I didn't bring it with me, but I have one of those black Copic multi-liner pens, and I believed I used the one that said 0.3mm. Now, this butterfly is, because you're not supposed to use Copics with StazOn, but I wasn't coloring, I was actually going over the StazOn. I did heat set it and wait a while, and then I went over it with my Copic marker hoping that I didn't mess it up, and actually it didn't bleed or anything like that, so I'm quite pleased. I just went over it because the StazOn is not as dark as the black in the fabric marker pen, so it kind of looked funny. The butterflies were lighter than the rest of the stuff, so I just went over it as much as I could with the multi-liner, and I colored in the body and the antenna because those didn't put enough pressure, so it didn't stamp very well. And I'm quite pleased with the way it came out. I was hoping that it wouldn't run or bleed or look kind of funny. And then the dots that come from this butterfly, I just hand drew those again with the black fabric marker instead of stamping. Then these are jewels. These are just some bling jewels that I had in my stash, and let me show you what I used to attach those. I bought this pack at Joann's. It's called Fabric Tacky Pack, and I bought this because you get 5 different ones. You get this one that says Jewel It. Where's this under? Jewel It. This is to attach all this embellishments. Then you get this one that's flexible stretch for like flexible fabric. You get this one that's called Fabric Fusion, which is permanent for dry items that you're gonna wear, like dry cleaning stuff. Then you get this one that says okay to wash it, and it's a permanent fabric bond. This is the one I used for the ribbon. I'll show you in a second. And then you get this one that's no-sew fabric glue, and this is actually a temporary hold for basting and stitching. So for attaching again the bling, I use this one that says Jewel It, and the instructions come in the back of this board that tells you how to use all the different ones. So this is a nice sample pack that you can get before you actually buy the bigger bottles. So back to this trim here. Let me zoom in again. So what I did on the bottom of this is I took this trim that I had, and I took the one that says okay to wash it, and I went around the whole edge of the apron with this, and this tells you to leave it on 3 to 5 minutes to set. So I went around the thing, put my timer on my phone, and left after about, I tried 3 minutes and it still wasn't tacky enough, so I left it on for 2 more minutes, so 5 minutes. And then I just went and just not taped it, and glued it in place. And then I did the same here, and I put all my glue down, and then I went around the whole apron and waited 5 minutes and glued it in place. And then I used the embellish it again for these little flowers that I put here. So that's my apron, guys. I hope that you like it. This is the first time for me doing this apron, like I said, and using fabric markers on with fabric, and using stays on fabric, and stamping on fabric. So this was all new to me. So I'm really glad that I did this. I had a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that my partner Loretta really likes her apron. And by the way, the fabric markers I was reading stay pretty much true to color. So if she has, all this stuff is washable, so if she has to wash it for whatever reason, it should not fade. Now the only thing that might fade are the copics, the hair and the face, because from what I've heard, that sometimes they tend to fade a little bit with frequent washing. But the fabric markers that I used on all the other stuff should stay true to color. So if you have any questions, please leave a question down below or message me, and thank you for watching. Have a great day.